What's up, everyone? It's Alan's Movie Talk, back at it again. Just got back from seeing Mickey 17, so let's talk about it. Mickey 17 is Bong Joon-ho's follow-up to his Oscar-winning Best Picture, Parasite, from back in 2019. And to me, this just seems like Warner Brothers said, hey, your last movie that you did was a, very popular, very well done, groundbreaking movie that won Best Picture. So we're going to write you a blank check, and you can pretty much make whatever movie you want. And to start off my positives, that's basically the thing that this movie was. He was allowed to make the movie that he wanted, and he did. This is a very bold science fiction, satire, dark comedy film that has a very unique visual style that Hope provides. And yeah, I mean, he made the movie that he wanted. He got the budget that he wanted. And this is basically one of his films. This is like his previous work all wrapped up into one, with the largest budget that he's had to work with in his career. And you could feel it. The boldness of this film is something to be commended, and something I wish that studios would take more risks on and make more films like this. It's very rare that you would see a big major studio like Warner Brothers shell out $150 million for a film like this that is so unique, so bold, takes risks, has a lot to say, is very dark in its comedy and its humor. This movie's bold, and it goes for it. Not all of it works, but I commend this film for taking those risks and wanting to be something different. And then from performance-wise, I mean, are you really surprised? Robert Pattinson is just one of the best actors alive right now. I know technically in the movie he only plays one character, but spoiler alert, it's in the trailer. He plays multiple versions of that character, and then we get to a point in the story where he's basically playing two significantly different versions of that character. And, leaving it up to an actor with the capability of Robert Pattinson is just no surprise to me that he's going to deliver such an excellent performance. The accent, everything about his performance in this film is fantastic, and Robert Pattinson to me just continues to prove that he is one of the best actors alive today, and I'm always going to be interested in anything that he's in. I love the fact that he likes to star in movies like this, and then is also simultaneously our new Batman, and is in such a blockbuster comic book movie like that. It just shows the range and how good he is as an actor. And I commend him for that. And, like I said, anything he's in, I'm there. I'm going to watch. And I know he's always going to give a good performance. And then in typical Bong Joon-ho fashion, this movie is very thought-provoking and tackles very deep themes. I mean, we get into, identity, mortality, ethical debates and conversations about, how corporations look at people as expendable and like that their lives don't really matter and they can do anything they want with them and get away with it and nobody care. And a lot of the themes like that to me in this film were done so well and invoke a conversation and invoke themes that I think will sit with you even after you've seen the film. It's been over an hour, since I've seen the movie, and I'm still thinking about it. I'm still running things through my head. And good movies and movies like that make you really have deep conversations, even with yourself, people that you see the movie with, are the ones that have the most impact, and that I want to continue to see Hollywood make. A movie should make you think. A movie, yeah, it's nice every once in a while to get a movie where you turn your brain off and you just watch for 2 hours, eat some popcorn, and then go home. But then there also should be films like this as well that make you think, that make you have maybe uncomfortable conversations. So that aspect of this film I thoroughly enjoyed. And then to kind of wrap up my positives, I've seen reactions to this film, that are varied. I mean, so far, from what I could tell, reception-wise, this has been somewhat of a mixed film. And I've seen a decent amount of people call this film boring, which, I'm not 100% positive on this movie. I'm going to get into my negatives in a minute, but This movie to me is anything but boring. Even the moments that I didn't like and that didn't work for me, I was glued to the screen. I was thoroughly entertained for this film. And yeah, it's a little bit long. It's close. I think it was 217, 220, right around there. So it is a little bit long, but at no point in the film was I bored. At no point in the film was I not entertained. And again, that's even with not caring for everything in this film, I was thoroughly entertained, from the start. And I think a lot of that has to do with the world building. I mean, they really create a world here and build it out slowly over 2.5 hours almost. And again, I think Bong Joon-ho is really good at that in his films, and making a film at this scale made for just beautiful world building and entertainment. So for me, regardless of the issues I have with this film, this movie is absolutely entertaining, and it kept me intrigued for the entire runtime of the film. But with everything that I enjoyed with this film, there were some severe issues for me with the film, and the biggest one to me is that this film is just way overstuffed. There are too many thoughts, too many ideologies, too many storylines going on in this film. And, I talked about how a lot of the stuff that I really enjoyed about this film was very thought-provoking, brought up very interesting conversations. And for every storyline that I'd enjoyed, there was also another storyline that matched it that I just did not care about and I felt like was way over the top. So to me, I just felt like this movie didn't work as a whole because there was just way too much going on. Like I said, Warner Brothers gave Bong Joon-ho freedom with this film. I don't think they even touched this. I think this is the movie he wanted to make. But I also kind of feel like that was a little bit of a detriment to the film, because then I feel like he wasn't reeled in at all and just did everything he wanted to do. And I feel like the script and this film in the editing room could have used a few more passes, which is kind of surprising because if I remember correctly, this movie was delayed a couple of times. So, it is what it is. But again, my first negative is that this film, it's just overstuffed, and I felt like definitely could have been trimmed down. And then another negative for me is that the satire and the kind of political commentary aspects of when this movie tried to comment on what is actually going on in the real world, it was so over the top, so heavy-handed. There was nothing clever about it. Like I said, a lot of this movie was very clever, and a lot of the thoughts and the ideas that it brings up, I felt like was done masterfully and was very intelligent. And then you get to the, I don't want to spoil anything, but you kind of get to the more like satire, modern day political side of it. And it was just really bad and really over the top, particularly like Mark Ruffalo's performance. I mean, he was basically a cartoon character villain. And, anyone who's seen the movie probably knows who he's trying to imitate. But it was so over the top and just did not work for me. It wasn't clever whatsoever. And the comedy that they tried to introduce with it just didn't work for me at all. And then with that, going into my final negative here, because I feel like the film had a handful of plots and storylines and ideas that I felt like worked really well, and then another handful that just didn't at all, it really created an uneven pace with the film. There are stretches of the film that I felt like, like I said, I didn't agree with it. I didn't think the movie was really boring at any point, even when I didn't like it. But when I see people say that there are stretches of the film that they felt bored in, I understand why. Because the pacing is so uneven in the storylines that it decides to focus on and deal with, that it jumps around all over the place. And then so when you're on a storyline that you just don't really care about for an extended period of time, and I'm talking extended, like it's 20 to 30 minutes that we keep jumping around to each other's storyline. So it works when you like the storyline, but if you don't like what's going on, then you're like, oh my god, this is just dragging its feet. And I did, even though, like I said, I was never bored, I was always entertained throughout the entire film. That definitely meant for some moments where I'm like, okay, let's move past this and let's jump back to the storylines that we actually want to see and actually want to talk about. Then when it came to the emotional parts of Mickey's character and the emotional story with Mickey, he has a love interest in the film that was revealed in the trailer. I felt like their relationship and the story that they decided to tell about their relationship in this film was severely, severely underdeveloped. And I know I keep saying pretty much the same thing about all my issues with the film, is that there was just too much going on and everything that I liked was underdeveloped. But you really felt that with, Mickey's character with his, I can't remember the girl's name, his girlfriend in the film. But you really felt that with them, because I felt like that was kind of where the emotion of the film and with the character was supposed to be, and it kind of just remained undeveloped for a majority of the film. So it didn't feel as satisfying or have the emotional impact that I felt like it probably should have. So yeah, overall, guys, I am still positive on this film. Like I said, I really appreciate the boldness, the swing that Bong Joon-ho tried in this film. Yes, it didn't entirely work for me, but I still want Hollywood to make more films and allow filmmakers to make films like this. Because I feel like when you take a film like this and you're just swinging for the fences, you're taking that creative leap. I feel like movies are better when movies like this are allowed to be made. We don't need them all the time, We don't need to get rid of the films that, like I said, that you shut your brain off for 2 hours. But we need to balance it, and this is the type of movie to give you that balance. So, yeah, overall, like I said, a lot of things worked, a lot of things didn't. So it was somewhat mixed for me. But I think overall, in the overall experience, I still had a good time, and I still want to see movies like this made. So on a rating scale, I am going to give Mickey 17 a 3.5 out of 5. If you've seen Mickey 17, go ahead and comment below and let me know what you thought about it. And if you haven't already, subscribe to my channel. I'm going to be cranking out more reviews, doing some live shows. So yeah, Mickey 17, comment, let me know, and everyone have a great night.